Hey everyone, PsyStarcraft here with game number 4 between Hashe and Matrix. This is going to be kind of weird for me though because I don't often cast a TVP. But for the sake of actually finishing out the clan war and getting you all the games, I'm going to have to cast it anyway. So hopefully I'll somewhat know what I'm talking about, and if not, you guys can flame me and call me a noob in the comments because that's the kind of stuff I jerk off to be honest. You know, the S&M, really dirty, like mean talk, so call me your little bitch, I don't care. That's only partially true. So we have Matrix in the bottom left representing Team Insanity as the red Protoss, and Hashe, once again, in the top right as the pink Terran. Of course, pink is the color of winners, and he has not lost yet going pink, so very cool. This is game number 7 between Insanity and Team Vile, Hashe for Team Vile, and he's taken down 3 good players, man, 3 Zerg players. First was Crixus, who dropped 3 of our players. Second was Bathius, I think his name was. And second was Kung Fu. Third was Bathius. So we'll see if he can destroy Protoss this time. His Zerg versus Terran is obviously very strong, coming back after that Roach attack and just playing so solid all around. Hopefully his Terran versus Protoss is the same. Matrix is a really good toss. I forgot to check his stats, but I know he's up there. He's pretty high. All these players are 2,500 or higher, I believe. So if you see the name of the game and you're like, oh, Psy's not in this commentary, the name of the video, and you say that, watch it anyway, man. There's some good players in here. Just because I'm not in it doesn't mean I can't give you insight. Come on, bitches. Anyway, we did see a Rax first, followed by a Gas for Hashe. So he likes to go very standard play, and I think that's how Terran is the strongest. You know, they can like go gas first and rush double reactor Hellions or single reactor Hellions, or you know, Tech Lab Banshees, double. God damn, man, why do I burp when I talk? Double Starport Banshees, but you know, Hashe he's overall. He just plays all around good StarCraft, and that, you know, that's what Jinro does, and that's why he got so far in the GSL. Unfortunately, he was knocked out, and if you call that a spoiler alert, you guys are way in the past, so go eat my balls. Cybercore coming from Matrix. Looks like he is choosing to Chrono Boost out of Zealots. I don't know if that's common or not, but seems like you could Chrono Boost out of Nexus instead. Maybe that means there's going to be early pressure, or he's afraid of early pressure. I don't know. Hashe did just take out 3 opponents, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's just kind of afraid, and so he's Chrono Boosting out gateway units. I've always wondered, like, is it faster to Chrono Boost out Warp Gates? Like, will you get units faster that way? Or if you Chrono Boost out gateways? Because, of course, when you research Warp Gates, all of your gateway units get in 10 seconds sooner, not including the warp time, so I guess 5 seconds sooner. But if you Chrono Boost Warp Gates, you can actually, well, I guess you can time it anyway. Never mind. What I was going to say is, it's always good to time your warp gate research right when you produce a wave of gateway units, because you'll, like, let's say you have four gateways and you just make 4 gateway units, and then your warp gate's complete, you make them warp gates, and then you can get 4 more just 10 seconds after, and it's really, really insane. I've been working on timing it as my Protoss, which is actually really strong now. I'm changing races to Protoss. It's pretty much that good, but not really. But anyway, we are seeing some pressure for Matrix. Maybe that was why he was Chrono Boosting out. But 5 Marines against 2 Zealots and a Stalker and a Wall Off. Probably not a good idea, Matrix. You need to get the heck out of there. That SCV is like, let me in, man. But he doesn't want to lower it for fear of the Zealots. He does chase them off just long enough to do nothing. There we go. Now that SCV is safe. Probably could have killed it if he just stood like down here. Killed that SCV. Another Stalker running in. So maybe that was just feigning pressure to throw down a Nexus. So 1 Cybercore, 1 Gateway, Nexus expansion, now getting 2 more gateways. I don't know if that's common at all. I am very sorry that I am not very knowledgeable. SCV just kind of chilling out down here. I'm not sure why. A lot of times you'll actually see a factory in this kind of position floated in to do some scouting, just because against Protoss, factory units aren't very popular for Terran. Unless you're going to go for a Hellion drop, which looks like Hashe is going to try that out. 3rd Hellion almost complete. Will he wait for a 4th before he drops? Will he drop in some Marines? Who knows? Tech Lab being added on, might see a Banshee or a Raven. 4th gateway. And a Robo facility. Now, I am somewhat familiar with TVP just from watching the GSL, and a lot of times in an endgame, you'll see it come down to Terran managing their Marines and Marauders, Medevacs and Vikings, against Protoss, who are managing their Colossi, Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries. Yes, occasionally you'll see Protoss get Immortals if the Terran is too heavy in Vikings, and occasionally you'll see Psionic Storm if the base goes really, or if the game goes into a huge macro game where you're on 4 base or something like that, or once again if the Terran has too many Vikings. From the Terran side, occasionally you'll see Siege Tanks. That's really a preference. Some players will go Siege Tanks. The problem with tanks against Protoss is Blink Stalkers are really good against tanks, Colossi don't do too bad against tanks, Immortals are really good, Zealots are really good at tanking up damage. So tanks, probably not the best choice in TVP, although we are seeing a tank from Hashe, and when I was watching this game, it actually surprised me that he did go tanks, because it's not something you see too often. But this drop is approaching. Dropping off 1 Hellion, 2 Hellions, 3 Hellions. He does see that. Nice. He can barely see that with the pylon. He's reacting extremely fast, but the Hellions do get into the mineral line, kill 1 probe. How many probes is he going to kill? He's up to 35 probes right now. If he can get 1 shot in, oh, I was going to say if he can get 1 shot in on that string of probes, it could be huge. But that was a really nice force field. Something a lot of players neglect. They expect to force field against huge clumps of units, cut them in half. But when it just takes 1 simple force field to block off Hellions like that, it's really cool to see. So that was a very nice force field. And Hashe now throwing down his expansion. Only 7 harvesters behind, which isn't too bad considering he does have the mule, now transferring his units. And looks like he did choose to produce a Raven from that starport, so needs energy for PDD. Sean's side, not liking the looks of this game. He's just going to get the heck out of there. And a Phoenix. Always nice to see a Phoenix. I think Phoenixes are so underrated just at everything. They're so good at scouting. The Graviton Beam is amazing, especially against sieged up tanks. Their anti-air is pretty good because they are so fast. 180 life, man. No armor, but who cares? So if we look at units, some gateway units against 2 Banshees, a Raven, some Marines, and a couple tanks. And a couple Hellions. I'd say this is pretty even so far. If they were to engage right now, the Terran would win, but that's probably because Matrix hasn't had too much time to reap the full benefits of his expansion because he took it so early. Observer being boosted. Phoenix getting a couple shots on that medevac. Is he going to go for another drop? No, it looks like he's going for some Banshee play. And this isn't only a proxy pylon, it's actually less of a proxy pylon than it is a scout for any kind of drops or Banshees on the left side of the map. So that's pretty awesome as well. Couple of Hellions going in the south. Are they going to kill any probes? 3 probes going down. If he can get 2 more waves of shots in, he might kill a couple more. 4 probes. 4 probes going down. Of course, the pre-igniter, nice lift. That was pretty cool. With pre-igniters, it only takes 2 shots. Without pre-igniter, it takes 3 shots. And there's the robotics bay. And Hashe will probably respond to any heavy Colossus play by lifting this off, making a reactor, and going a lot of Vikings. Is he going to see that observer? Oh, he doesn't need to see. He has a Raven there. I would wait 20 energy. I don't know if Hashe knows that he's going to engage soon or not, but I'd wait 20 more energy, 15 more energy for a second point defense drone, because that can actually make a big difference. And oh boy, that's a lot of Zealots, man. Those Zealots, especially with the Guardian Shield, are going to tank a lot of take damage. Oh, beautiful. Lifting up the siege tanks with those Phoenix, and this is a slaughter, man. This is such a slaughter. Zealots are still in there as well. You usually see Zealots die so fast, but oh my gosh, that was disturbing to watch. While those siege tanks are being lifted, of course, they cannot shoot. So, man, that was actually a really good play by Matrix. He just obliterated that army. I mean, these guys are even matched, man. But oh, I apologize. I missed a lot of harassment. It looks like 1 Banshee at each base. Okay, I have to go back and see the kills of those Banshees. I'm sorry. I was creaming myself over that engagement in the middle. Only 2 kills on that Banshee. 6 kills, 7 kills. So while all that was happening, Hashe sent 1 Banshee into each base. 3 kills on 1 Banshee, 7 kills. So he killed 10 probes. Is that worth losing your entire army over? Probably not. But you have to remember, if those Banshees were with his army, they would have died so fast to Phoenix. So he got some use out of him. So that was a pretty smart play. Now, a lot of people have been saying that when you lift off siege tanks with Phoenix that they lose their siege mode. That's not true. You noticed when the tanks dropped after the graviton beam ran out, yeah, they remained sieged and they fired immediately. So it's not completely imbalanced. It's just really good against tanks. So Phoenix, another unit that are just so good against tanks. But Hash uses them defensively, at least. They are pretty good defensively. They're good against stalkers. That's one unit. They're decent against sentries, I guess. Preparing a third expansion. Extended thermal lances going for the Protoss player. And content with producing just Phoenixes at this point. Not going to go for any crazy void rate switch up and go for like the mineral line or anything like that. Hash now busting down the high yield rocks. While Matrix has his first Colossus out and is almost positively chrono boosting that robotics bay right there. And if we check out the army count, it's actually surprisingly even. I don't know how Hash is back even with Matrix. Maybe Matrix isn't macroing as well as he should be. I don't know. He is down on probe count, that's for sure. 60 SCVs. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe he just got a little too heavy of a force. He needs to saturate them more. Looks like he's trying to. He has supply blocked himself, though. Yeah, that's not good at all. He needs a lot more workers. And he's choosing to bust it down as well. Any Vikings? Oh, looks like he's pumping out a lot of Vikings just off one starport. Oh, he's producing 3. He must have another starport somewhere. There it is. So instead of switching this out to something else, he just chose to build another starport altogether. So he now has 3 Vikings going at once. And you have to be careful in TVP at this point to not overproduce your Vikings, because then a Protoss player will just stop getting Colossi, switch up to Immortals, or switch up to Storm or something like that. But we have another battle here, lifting off those tanks. Oh, this is so close. Oh, he had a Ghost in there as well. That was sick, man. Looks like Hash might actually win this game, or this battle, rather. And that was actually really surprising. I don't really know what happened there. But Hash ended up winning. I wasn't really expecting that. You can see I don't really have the best game sense as far as TVP goes. But one thing I have to say is EMP is so damn good, man. So damn good. And, you know, even if you spread out your caster units, it's almost impossible to spread out your army enough and so they don't all lose 100 shields. It's just insane. Of course, you can get High Templar, but High Templar are really expensive, hard to tech into. He'd have to get a... Does he have charge? I don't know. Does he have charge? No. So he'd have to get a Citadel or a Twilight Council and a Templar Archives. These just roll off the tongue because I play these races so often. And someone just Skyped me, so. And, yeah. So it's hard to stop Ghosts. He's got almost 2 EMPs ready. And he just has no army now. 141 to 123. So after getting completely slaughtered in that first battle, it looks... I mean, I thought Matrix was going to win the second battle as well, but maybe tanks are better than I thought. Maybe his army was out of position. I have no idea what happened there. You guys are going to have to rewind and tell me what happened, because that was actually pretty funny. 3 Ghosts. These EMPs are just going to be so nasty. If he can siege up just right here. Yeah, there we go. And okay, Terran tip, you don't always have to siege up your tanks in range of a building you want to kill, because you can always send in the rest of your forces. Is he going to flank? Oh, it looks like he's going to lift these up. Okay, this is kind of silly. If you're going to do this, at least send in your army or something. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, you can always send in your forces, do some attacks, and then if the other player tries to attack you, your tanks can attack the units right here. And if you move in too far with these infantry, just back up a little bit. So it's actually really cool. Oh, oh my God, that was nasty. That was so nasty. It's like 3 or 4 EMPs going off. He hardly lost anything. Now running in with the infantry, finishing off these Colossi, which only have 200 life without EMP, or with the EMPs hitting. And this expansion is going to go down, and this kind of looks like the Kung Fu game, where right when Hash expanded, he takes a base and turns it into a planetary fortress. Man, that is just so smart. And he doesn't pressure so fast that if, like, he doesn't pressure so fast where if his army died right here, they could counterattack and kill this before it became a fortress. No, he kind of slow pushes, sieges up very meticulously, and then, you know, it seems like he moves in right when his fortress is done. So if he does end up losing the battle or having to retreat, he can just go, you know, 20 yards back to his fortress and just raffle stomp his enemy if they choose to attack him at the fortress. I really like the staggering of the siege tanks here too. And we have a lot of Colossi, and I guess tanks are good against Colossi because he doesn't really have any Vikings. 2 Vikings in this composition. But the problem here is Matrix doesn't have a lot to support his Colossi, so he needs a lot of Zealots to go in there and tank these tanks, which he doesn't really have. Another nice EMP. I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen. I mean, it's really just a slow push until he wins. If you look at the armies, 173 to 122. Going for some kind of flank, but there are just so many tanks, man. Cool thing about Colossi though is tank splash doesn't really hit more than 1 Colossus just because they're so big. It's like having 2 ultras next to each other. The splash is really only going to hit 1 ultra. And Matrix does GG trying that final assault with the Colossi. But some pretty epic tank play. Actually, that was really cool. Not enough Zealots in that second battle, maybe. Definitely not enough Zealots now, but after that second battle, it didn't really matter. But let me know what you guys thought about this game and why he lost that second battle. That's actually really nuts. So the series is now 4-3. Hash now taking his 4th win in a row. Team Vile now at 4-3. So thanks for watching, guys.